Imagine an old, dusty room in Los Angeles, where the light from a street lamp barely pierces through an unwashed window. In the corner stands a shaky desk, and on it, a heavy iron typewriter that clatters like a machine gun in the silence of the night. Sitting at the desk is a man with a face like an old leather glove that has been chewed on by an angry dog for a long time. This is Charles Bukowski. He wasn't taught manners in expensive schools, and he never tried to seem better than he really was. His life wasn't like a beautiful movie with a happy ending. It was the story of a guy from the back alleys who just wanted to tell the truth about how ordinary people live. It all started long ago, when Charles was still a little boy. He was born in Germany, but his family moved to America in search of happiness. But happiness was in no hurry to meet them. His father was a very harsh man and often mistreated little Henry. That was his name at home. The boy felt like an outsider everywhere, both at home and at school. Moreover, in his teenage years, his face was covered with terrible sores, which made other children laugh at him. He was in pain and lonely, and he hid from this world in the public library. There, among the high shelves of books, he realized one important thing. It turns out that words can be stronger than fists. Words can build an entire world where you don't have to justify yourself to anyone. When he grew up, Charles didn't look for a cozy office job. He wandered around the country, slept on cheap cots in flop houses, and took on the hardest work. He unloaded trucks, washed dishes in dirty diners, and glued labels onto bottles. Every evening, he went to a bar, ordered the cheapest beer, and just watched people. He saw those who are usually not noticed: tired workers, old men with sad eyes, stray dogs. And he began to write about them. He wrote on scraps of newspapers, on the back of receipts, on whatever was at hand. His poems were not gentle or sweet. They were rough, honest, and smelled of the salty dust of the roads. He gave almost 12 years of his life to working at the post office. It was the most boring and difficult time. Imagine, every day, year after year, you stand at a conveyor belt or haul a huge bag of letters. The sun is scorching, your legs ache from exhaustion, and an angry boss screams over your head. Charles felt that this work was slowly killing his soul. He called it ordinary madness. He would come home completely broken, but he would still sit down at the typewriter. Even if he only had enough strength for a couple of lines, he wrote them. He knew that if he stopped writing, he would simply vanish like cigarette smoke. And then, when he was already 50 years old, which is quite late to start a new life, a miracle happened. A man who loved his stories very much offered him a deal. He said, "Charles, I will pay you a small amount of money every month for the rest of your life if you quit the post office and just write." It was a huge risk. There was very little money, barely enough for food. But Bukowski didn't think for long. He chose freedom. He chose the opportunity to be himself, even if it meant going hungry. Thus appeared his first famous novel, which was simply titled Post Office. People were in shock. They had never read anything like it. In his books, there were no beautiful princes or princesses. There were flies on the windowsill, holy socks, and people trying to find even a drop of warmth in a cold city. But it was for this honesty that he was loved. His books began to be read all over the world. It turned out that millions of people felt the same way. They also get tired, they also make mistakes, and they also sometimes just want to scream at how unfair this world is. Charles became famous, but it didn't change him. He didn't move into a huge palace or buy himself a golden car. He still loved to sit on the balcony, listen to classical music on the radio, and watch the horse races. He got cats because he considered them the most honest creatures in the world. He said that cats are little saviors who just live and don't deceive anyone. He wrote that you shouldn't try to be someone else. You just need to do what you love until it becomes your greatest strength. Inside this rough and prickly man lived a little bluebird. That's what he wrote in one of his most famous poems. This bluebird wanted to get out and sing a beautiful song, but Charles kept it deep inside so that the world wouldn't break it. He let it out only at night when no one was looking. This was his little secret. Behind the outer harshness was a very kind and vulnerable heart. He understood the pain of every loser because he had been one himself for many years. Bukowski teaches us that you don't have to be perfect to be heard. You don't have to have a lot of money or beautiful clothes. The most important thing is to stay true to yourself, even if the whole world tells you that you are nobody. He showed that beauty can be found even in the dirtiest back alley, if you look at it with love and truth. He died old and famous, but only 2 words were written on his grave: don't try. This means don't pretend, just live, just write, just be a human being. Today, his books are on the shelves of every bookstore, and when you open them, it's as if you hear the voice of an old friend sitting next to you on a park bench. He doesn't give lectures or teach you how to live. He simply tells stories that make your soul feel a little lighter. Because now you know, even if you feel lonely or lost, old Charles was out there. He went through all of it and stayed himself. And that is the most important thing he could teach us.